Hey, what's going on, everyone? Nick and Shane here to talk about the much anticipated and newly released Obi-Wan Kenobi teaser trailer. Shane, how you doing?
I think I'm contractually obligated to say hello there, right? I have to.
Yes. Hello there. I'll cut that part and put it at the beginning of the video, and then go in the intro. Yeah, so we're gonna watch the trailer along with you guys, provide some commentary along the way, and then just add our thoughts at the end of it, and we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and roll it.
We're now 3 for 3 on Tatooine in Disney Plus shows, by the way.
Yeah, yeah,
The fight is done.
yeah. I'm glad that this isn't going to be
We lost.
purely on Tatooine either.
Yes, I did like
So
that.
they're already doing better than Boba Fett.
Yes. So, good old Battle of the Heroes theme. We got
Yep. Young
Luke
Luke
cranking
there.
that soldier boy. You.
Yep. You. I mean, this part.
Oh yeah, when Duel of the Fates kicks in, it's just pure bliss.
Yeah, when I first watched, I got chills when Duel of the Fates came over, and I'm like, this kind of sounds a little. It almost reminds me of a little bit like Palpatine right there, like just the nature of that voice.
What they are.
Some Sith Inquisitors.
I like the little
Leaves
dark
a
have a
trail.
guy hanging in the middle of the town square thing.
Yeah, your force choke hanging
The
him
Jedi code is like
in the
an
streets.
itch.
So
See, I
here's
love this little aesthetic that we're getting on
Yeah.
whatever this planet is.
that looks like
Where
Coruscant.
is he?
It could be. All the neon.
Yeah,
Red lightsabers, let's go.
Inquisitor sabers.
So is that supposed to be like Han Solo or something? Like it looks like his gun, right?
Yeah, it almost did.
It could be like Rex or something or something.
I mean,
And we gotta have the Vader breathing.
yep. Mr. Hayden Christensen.
I'm happy they didn't show it.
So am I. And maybe I can just scroll back here. Sorry if it's super choppy for people, but bear with me. See if we can.
Freeze frame the gun thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because it did look like it at first.
not that one.
It's like
But
right after this scene, I believe, right?
I think so.
Yeah, definitely looks like Coruscant.
Yeah, I like all. It's kind of reminds me of like the Star Wars games or something. Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
That looks like Han Solo's gun, right? I'm not the only one. I'm sure that there are other guns in the Star Wars universe that look.
He
like
even
his
kind of has a
gun.
little bit of hair, like
Yeah, like I don't know. I can't imagine it would be him though. Like the age, he'd be so young.
maybe, yeah. It's also hard to tell if they're still on Coruscant here or if they're on another planet. But I mean, who's he firing at? It's really hard to say. But either way, I mean, I think it looks really crisp. And again, I'm really glad we didn't get Darth Vader in this.
Like
this trailer
save that for the show.
Exactly.
We know he's in it, so
Yep.
just save it. Like that intro needs to be a big moment.
Yeah, you gave us 2 Inquisitors. We get to see
Yep.
who the villains are. So,
Yep.
Again, already better than Boba Fett because we know who the villains are right from the trailer. And we kind of discussed this in our Batman review where we talked about how trailers give away too much.
Yeah.
Giving us Vader would have been too much.
Yeah, agree.
So, and we already have the setting of the narration from Ewan McGregor talking about what he's trying to do, his objective. We know he's sort of got he has his eye on a young Luke Skywalker.
Yep.
You know, the Empire is now in full force. So yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see I guess what battles happen. I did see an article that discussed Ewan training with the lightsaber in hand.
Yeah, and I think it's supposed to be him and Vader
Most
fighting
likely,
because they showed that concept art in the little teaser. So
Right.
we're gonna get a fight with them for sure. But I'm pretty interested in the Inquisitor storyline because
I am
like
too.
that's something that we've had in the animated shows and even the games. Um, and that's not something that we've seen in live action yet. And it's a pretty interesting concept. You hire these people to go hunt down the last of the Jedi, and Obi-Wan is one of them. Uh, and so
Yeah.
it fits perfectly. And I think that's a good way to kind of introduce the Inquisitor to most people, because
Yep.
it doesn't have to be Vader hunting down everybody. And it's a good way to bring in like a new character too.
Yeah, it's really interesting that they went with this approach because I remember probably I guess 5 6 years ago now, um, in the Vader comic series where they talked about Vader hunting down the remaining Jedi, how he forged his saber, and where the Inquisitors came about too. So actually seeing that in live action is really great, and again, seeing the Inquisitors in Rebels, and then in the Fallen Jedi video game, which was phenomenal, where you get to fight them.
Yeah,
Again, I wonder if Obi-Wan will dare you clash with them, because I think you know, if he tries to show himself on Tatooine, it's going to jeopardize the whole thing. So it's like
yeah.
he's going to see these Inquisitors there, like he does, and he doesn't get involved. So I know that. Well, I say I know, but I want to believe that the fight between him and Vader does not take place on Tatooine either, right?
I wouldn't think so. Um, I because then he'd know Tatooine is of some importance, and I
Right.
think that you could get some really intense scenes, like where they showed, you know, hanging the guy in the middle of the town, and I'm sure Obi Wan is watching, and like
Yep.
he can't do anything about it, which is totally against like his programming. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that that can lead to some really intense scenes where you've got, things happening that are beyond Obi-Wan's control and he could do something about it, but he shouldn't. And that's a good little moral conflict for him.
I agree. I think also kind of with the Jedi mindset that he's f- inevitably forced to subdue. I think he's also going to kind of go through this, almost like I know it was kind of discussed beforehand, but like this nightmarish um, episodes where he might have some sort of anxiety from maybe not from seeing what happens, or I also think maybe because he's been through a lot worse that
Yeah.
he's sort of learned to deal with it. Sort of
Yeah.
like it's like dealing with anxiety and depression. Like you know he watched he's seen the love of his life die. He saw his brother Anakin uh, die essentially, or thinking that he was dead, right? And to kind of see what's going on Tatooine. Um, yeah, it sucks that he can't intervene, but I don't know if he'll actually be traumatized by it. So
Yeah. I think what's interesting is, and this is something that we don't know. Does he know that Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker?
I don't think so at this
I don't think
point.
he does, right? So that could be a really interesting like little moment for him as he learns that he's actually alive. Because
Yeah,
he's fighting these inquisitors, that could just be like the ultimate inquisitor kind of thing, right? It doesn't have to be uh, Anakin, but
right.
I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to put together, I guess. But it could be interesting to get that little moment where it's almost like Luke learning that Darth Vader is his father. It's Obi Wan learning that Darth Vader is Anakin.
Yeah, I
And we had a similar moment in was it Rebels with Ahsoka?
yes,
Yeah,
yeah. Rebel, she breaks his mask
right.
in the fight, and then sees like the Sith looking eyes that Anakin has at that point. And I think the only way Obi Wan would know is if Ahsoka tells him, or unless Obi Wan finds out through some means of using the Force. But I think that could also maybe,
Or Anakin just tells him.
yeah, yeah. He flat out tells him. I think
That'd
that's
be
probably what's
more
going to
interesting, I
happen.
think.
Yeah, I think they might have this standoff, right? And I think Obi Wan's not going to really know who that is or what that is until Vader starts to speak to him.
Yeah, and you could set up a really kind of parallel to the original trilogy where halfway through the show he has his first little like standoff with Vader. And it may not be a full fight, but it may just be that they are introduced to each other and then he learns who it is. And then you've got the big climactic battle towards the end or in the finale or something.
Right.
Similar kind of parallel, right? Where Luke learns the terrible truth and then has to face him. Obi-Wan has to do the same thing.
Yeah, and I think the whole A New Hope dialogue, where Vader says, in their last meeting, I was but the learner, but now I am the master. And he even says only a master of evil, Darth, right? And it's like it's not changing, it's not retconning anything from Revenge of the Sith, because at that point he was still Anakin Skywalker. Um, he to Obi-Wan. I mean, he was already
Yeah.
dubbed Darth Vader by Palps, but I also think that maybe he announces himself as Darth Vader if Obi-Wan doesn't know it prior to. But even then, he's still the master. Look, Anakin has been growing in the dark side over the last 10 years, but Obi-Wan just has this much more knowledge over him from just being alive longer, I guess. And but I can't wait for that fight. That might
Oh,
be
it's going to be insane.
one of the best fights we've ever gotten prior to their own fight from episode 3.
Yeah.
Um,
I hope though that they like my big problem with the prequel fights is they're too choreographed a little bit, especially
yeah,
Revenge of the Sith. It's just like it's too perfect, and I kind of like. I'm hoping that this one is more like a brutal type of fight, somewhere
could
in
be.
between what you get in like an Empire and what you get in Revenge of the Sith, where it's more like they're obviously like pros with these weapons, but like Anakin's a little older and Obi-Wan's a little older. Anakin is beaten to hell, so like he's not going to be doing flips, I hope, and stuff like that. I hope it's
Yeah,
more of like I kind of like the choreography in like The Force Awakens where it's like stylized but it's not over the top. Like there's a lot of weight to their fight and movements, and I hope that that's kind of the direction they go with it. But I
yeah.
mean that the freaking like fan base collectively watching that fight are gonna lose their shit. Like
Oh yeah, like
it's gonna
that
be
that alone is going to be discussed online
oh yeah yeah
for a long time, I'm sure. And that's going to be the hot topic
yep
for especially for that week alone, whenever we get it. But yeah, I
yeah.
think a lot. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think what's interesting though is that while this is going to be like the most nostalgia heavy thing ever,
Yeah,
it does look like they're trying to tell their own little story in it, and
yeah,
enjoy that. Like it looks like they're not just gonna rest on their laurels. It looks like they're setting up this whole Inquisitor fight and detective story, and maybe we're going delving into Obi-Wan's psyche a little bit, and
yes,
that's really like the story that's been there to tell this whole
yep,
time is like
yep,
what is Obi-Wan doing? How is he dealing with this? And like it seems like a layup to kind of make that story, but I'm glad that it looks like they're not just throwing as many characters at you as possible. They're trying to tell their own story and focus really on Obi-Wan and his character. I also did like
yeah,
seeing Joel Edgerton as Uncle Owen because he's
yeah,
a great actor and like
yeah,
he's randomly in Revenge of the Sith for 10 seconds.
yeah.
Actually,
That
no,
was
he's in
cool.
Attack of the Clones too. Uh,
Yeah, because
he's
he
Owen
doesn't.
in Attack of the Clones, and he
Yeah,
says, "Where are you going?" And that's it. That's
one
his only
line. That's
line.
it. Yep.
But like when he was casted, he was nobody, and now he's been in so many other things. And he's a great actor. I don't know if you've ever seen Warrior with him and Tom
Yes.
Hardy, but it's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Great
Love that
movie.
movie.
Great movie. Yep.
Great performances.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm excited to see him in this too. Benny Safdie, I don't know what he's supposed to be playing, but he's in this as well, and he's great. Um,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah. I
got.
think
Hopefully, they have a line about his muse, even though it's Josh Safdie. But
they
somebody needs
might.
to say "Uncut Jams"
They
in this
might.
in this show.
That'd be a nice little Easter egg, honestly. Um, yeah, I think even just by this trailer that it looks like it could potentially be the best Star Wars show that's been released
Yeah,
thus far.
I hope so.
Yeah, I do too, especially because it's a limited series, so we're not going to get a season two, most likely. So this
We
is
got a
it.
season 2. It's episode 4, A New Hope.
Yeah, exactly. Just 'cause this is where it's like it's like this
Like
could be
Rogue
like
One 2. Wait.
yeah, like aside from Rogue One, this could be potentially the best segue from the prequels to
Yeah.
the OG series. So
Yeah, I
um,
think what I'm most excited about is seeing, because I like, everyone can shit on the prequels all day, and I will do it too, about, like, the world building is fantastic in those movies, but the direction and writing is not great.
yeah,
And it's so interesting to see somebody else besides George Lucas actually tackle prequel content in live
yeah,
action. This is the first time we've seen kind of any of that.
yeah,
So I think it's going to be awesome to see these characters that we love George for creating the characters and the storyline, but maybe we were disappointed in the actual films themselves. How is that going to transition well? Because we've got all these characters that we love, and now we've got like Deborah Chow, who's a great filmmaker, putting everything together, and I think it could really be pretty magical.
yeah. I know we've been talking about this since it was announced during I think the Mandalorian season one when Deborah Chow was announced that she was directing this, and the episode that she directed was very well done. And so I think in that in mind, there was a level of uh, I dare I say hype and expectation. But at the same time, like this could be very, very heavily critiqued by fans
Oh yeah,
in the Star Wars fandom that you know it's going to be held in high regard. I almost expect someone like Star Wars Theory to really narrate this to the nth degree. And I know a lot of people are. I know we'll definitely tear this thing apart in a good way, of course, too, not
yeah,
in a negative connotation. But it's again, like you said, this is the first time this has been approached from a prequel standpoint, and kind of paving the bridge to the OG trilogy. So that alone it has this level of expectation and
yeah.
excitement around it. I mean, the fact that again John Williams is doing or did the
So
score for
excited.
this is just
So I
you
think he's
know
just doing the theme. I think he
just
just
the
did
theme.
the
Okay,
theme because he did the same thing with Solo, where I think he created the theme for Solo, and then somebody else came in and did the rest of the music.
okay,
I think it's the same thing where, like, I mean, he's getting up there, so it's not like he can devote
yeah,
that much time to it anymore. But
right,
he did do the one theme, and I'm happy they didn't put it in this. They just showed
yes,
kind of old music. I'd like to see that theme as a, like, we don't hear it until the show
the show
debuts
comes
kind of
out.
thing.
Yeah,
But I'm
yep,
hyped. I'm excited, and I'm like the most anti nostalgia person ever,
yeah.
and I'm still super hyped for this.
Yeah, I like a degree of nostalgia. I know we discussed that quite a bit on our Boba Fett videos.
Yeah,
So, but if done correctly, it could be
yeah,
very well done. But we want to see a new story told here in a brilliant way. So that's what we'll definitely be looking for that. Good characterization from some of these new characters, both good and dark side alike. And then the whole grand scheme of things, again, like the world building, some of the new things that we've seen from old places. So there's going to be a lot to analyze. I really hope that these episodes are an hour long.
I hope so too. I can't imagine they wouldn't be, but you just never know with how, like, they did Boba Fett. Like,
Yeah,
it's almost like the run times, like, they're not mandated. They just kind of make whatever they want for each episode. It's
yeah,
weird.
yeah, and I think it's really unfortunate, and I think in some cases it's a little bit of a disservice. I think with someone as so prized as Obi-Wan, especially with the inclusion of Vader, and and you're bringing back Hayden Christensen, you're including the Sith Inquisitors as new villains to be in the live action for the first time. Like they're going to require a certain level of screen time, especially for people to care about them
Yeah,
or hate them in a good way. So I really do hope that the runtime for each episode is an hour. Did they say how many episodes we're getting? Because I want to
I
say
think
it
it's
was like
6. I
six.
think it's 6.
So listen, I really hope we get 6 hours worth. And I know that with credits, it might be like 50 plus, but
Right. It is 6. I just looked it up.
Okay, so as long as the like actual screen time, not including the intro, not including the credits, is at least 50 minutes or
Yeah, I'd be
more,
happy with that.
I'd be okay. Exactly, I'd
Yeah.
be okay with that. So,
Yeah, and
um,
I don't know, I think they realize how much content people want out of this show. Uh,
yes,
but I mean, it's been in development for so long that I would assume it's hopefully pretty refined by now,
yeah,
but
I would
who knows?
imagine, yeah, because it's I think it. I don't remember if it got pushed back.
Well,
Um,
I think it just so I want to say it's just been like in like script development for a long time. Like I
right,
think it got
yeah,
rewritten multiple times, and
yeah, I
some
think I
people
do
left the
remember
project and
that.
going back and
Yeah,
stuff like that. And then of course COVID hit and they had to move everything again.
yeah,
Uh,
that's right.
but it's been in development for a while. I mean, if they got Ewan to sign on, it's hopefully a pretty good. I mean, I'm sure they're paying him ridiculous sums of money,
Very,
but
very
I would
handsomely.
hope
Yeah.
that he was happy with the script if he wanted to sign on. Like he wouldn't sign on until he was happy with it.
Yeah, I think so too. And I also want to say to maybe Hayden's uh, point or side as well, where I know the fan base wasn't really keen on
Yeah,
his direction, and not that it's entirely his fault for the
no, I think
prequels.
it's not really his fault at all.
Yeah, but nonetheless, he had to bear that burden for a couple decades.
Yeah,
So I think for his sake, I really hope this is a bit of a redemption for him, and I do hope that we'll see the fan base and people act differently toward him
yeah.
from this.
And I hope we get the same thing, in 10 years with the sequels, because people kind of ran everybody through the mud uh,
Yes.
with that one as well. And it sucks, like with a fan base that's so emotionally invested in these movies, and you
Yeah.
see like something you don't like, and you need to lash out towards somebody, but it ends up being an actor who it's not their fault at all. Like Hayden
Yeah.
Christensen, he's like a 20-year-old kid, hadn't really been in much stuff before that, and he got served a character that was written kind of poorly and directed kind of poorly, and that's not his fault. Same thing with Jake Lloyd with Phantom Menace. Like, it's not his fault that he's told to say yippee and waltz down the street. Like, that's just what he was given, and that's what he did. And the poor guy got freaking destroyed for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really hope that people take a chill pill a little bit, even if this show doesn't end up being everything we want it to be. Just like, calm down. Let's not
Yeah.
ruin people's lives, please.
Yeah. I think what people just need to do in terms of really any movie or TV show is take a step back first, really give it some thought and think about why why do I think this person's portrayal or acting in this role was not good or bad, or and again that's completely subjective, but to take that step back and take a look at it and go, well, maybe they just weren't written very well, or maybe the dialogue their dialogue was just awful, like every single time, or majority of the time. And then think about that: who writes the dialogue for people? Who writes the script for people? Who
Yeah.
directs the people?
But also don't just send death threats to the writers and directors
Yeah, no,
either.
it's and yeah, like I think that's just like yeah, sending death threats to anyone is just
It's
like
terrible. It's
it's so
terrible.
immature and it's awful. Yeah, like I mean, look, I love to see great writing and dialogue, and that's what I really hope to see here. And I think we will, but I wouldn't blame Ewan McGregor for like be like, is that what really Obi-Wan would say, sort of thing, and then blame Deborah Chow. It was just to put blame is just it's a little too heavy. I
Yeah,
think
it's
I think
such a
it's like
collaborative
critique.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah,
I mean, just real quick, last day when I was in my writing creative writing workshops in college, um, it was like, Nick, I didn't really like the way you wrote this character's dialogue, or I didn't really like their character development in this story. Like, you suck, you're awful. Like, no one ever said that to me because at
right.
that point I would probably intern I would have cursed them out into their face.
Yeah,
Um,
it's never personal, so never
yeah,
make it personal.
exactly. So, I'd be like, "No, I appreciate your critique, and, I'll take another look at it and then go through a rewrite." But I know it's a little bit different when you're writing a movie and you may have people to do that with or not. But again, I think for this case, I think we'll probably get a really thorough story, dialogue,
Yeah.
character development, all that stuff. So,
And I also like one last thing before we wrap up is I hope we do see Hayden without the mask at some point.
yes,
Like either present day, like his helmet's off, or like a flashback, because they can do pretty well at like anti-aging and like doesn't really look that old. Like he's like 40 and he looks like he's 20 still. Like
yeah.
looks younger than I do.
Yeah, he still looks very young. And yeah, just a little bit of touch up. Not even makeup, but just a little little CGI magic or whatever. That they've done. Look what they did to Luke Skywalker,
I
right?
know, right?
So and they don't even need to do that much for
No.
Hayden. So I want to see a flashback or
Oh,
something like that.
Clone
Same.
Wars flashback or something. Oh,
Yeah, like same thing, like seeing Kenobi in his general armor during the Clone Wars would be
that would be
completely
awesome.
amazing.
Surely they know that we want that, right?
Yeah, but sometimes they don't give us what we want,
I know. They
which
shouldn't.
sucks.
They shouldn't
But
give us what we want. They should
but
give us
yeah,
what's better for us.
true, exactly. What's the saying? Give us what we didn't know we needed
Yeah,
instead.
exactly.
So yeah, I think I want I want to say we'll actually see Hayden without the mask on or the helmet from Vader.
Because otherwise, what's the point in casting him, right?
Yeah,
He's
because
just
he's
in the
not
suit.
fully like egg-headed yet, so because it hasn't been like 20 or 25 years later. Um, but it'll be really interesting because I wonder if they would show him, but like he doesn't have his hair, like he started to lose his hair, like he's already like gone bald at that point, but it's still like
I love how
Hayden's
we're like,
face.
we've gotten to how bald is Darth Vader in this show. Like that's where we ended up in this.
Yeah. We'll see. That'll be one thing we'll be looking out for when the
Yes,
show
we'll have a
premieres in 2
bald
months.
tracker
Yeah.
as we go
Episode
through the
1, no
reviews.
bald Vader. Damn. Episode 2, no bald Vader. Episode 3, oh, bald Vader. All right. Yes, we got it. All right. Cool. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this trailer.
How am I
And
going to wait 2 months for this? Like, damn it, give it to me tomorrow.
I even told a friend, buddy at work today. I was like, I think we'll get a trailer at the end of this month. Nope, we got it
Right now.
today.
Yep.
So it is what it is. I'm glad we got it though. So we've got 2 months to let this soak in, build more hype. I don't want to talk. I say I don't want to talk about it, but it's going to be talked about, I'm sure, for the next 2 months. So,
Oh yeah.
um,
I'm
but
hyped.
yeah, me too, me too. So, I don't know how I would even rate a trailer like
Oh,
this,
I'm not going to rate it.
but I just enjoyed the whole damn thing. So,
Yeah, it's great. Hearing that music again was enough for me.
agreed. Same here.
Anytime you put Duel of the Fates on anything, it just makes it 100% better. But yeah, no,
Yep.
I'm excited to review this with you, and we'll make sure to do it its justice.
Yep. Amen to that. So that'll do it for us here on the channel. For new, like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff, and be sure to tune in for our weekly reviews. Once May 25th hits, we'll be releasing videos for every episode. And until then, we'll see you on the next video. Peace out.